Mastermind family, welcome back to the show. I am your host Jojo, and today's Artist Motivation, where we bring on the hottest and latest artists to provide some inspiration, hope, so that you can go and create amazing things. And today's special guest is ZayArts, also known as Isaiah. And before we get the show started, we gotta do the sound off call for the day, right? Mastermind family in the building. And so, Isaiah, go ahead and tell yourself to the people, man, and just tell a little bit about yourself, man.
Hey, man, what's good? I'm ZayArts, ZayArts21 on Instagram. I've been drawing for about, I want to say about, give or take, 18 to 20 years. I'm just pretty much, I just like creating my own things. Like, that's the best thing. Like, I don't know. I just like creating my own stuff. Like,
Okay.
That's the best way to describe myself. Like, I just like creating my own stuff.
I dig it. So, like, since you've been creating for like 20 years, like, I guess, how did you even get started on your journey as an artist, and why did you get started?
Like, to be honest with you, I just remember, like, coming home from, like, school, like, elementary school and middle school, and, like, turning TV, not even forget my own work. I don't even care about my own work, but just turning on the TV and watching, like, Toonami and watching Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball and, you know, all the stuff that I was playing on Toonami, even the stuff that wasn't even anime related, like Reboot and all that. Like, that was, like, my biggest inspiration. So, like, I just remember, like, you know what, I was thinking to myself one day, like, I was like, man, I need to make my own, like, creations. Like, I don't know, like, the minute I seen, like, Sailor Moon, like, the first episode, it blew my mind, bro. It blew my mind.
So it's Mr. Tuxedo Mask and
Yeah, right.
I dig it. Yeah, that was like one of my first animes to watch was Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, and I would always just remember, like, why is nobody knowing that that's, you know, Mr. Tuxedo Mask was, I forget the guy's name, but, like, it's just like he just had the mask on.
He just had a little what do you call them things? I forgot, like a little masquerade.
Yeah, masquerade mask.
How you not see what he looked like? That's crazy. I always thought that was funny, even with, like, superheroes and, like, Marvel and stuff who have, like, nothing on their face. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, so that it's really funny. That's cool though. So you would say, like, I guess, what have been, like, you know, some influences for you, or big influences, like, that have impacted on your art to, like, just kind of create your own thing and just never kind of, like, emulate some of the stuff that's already out there?
Yeah, I mean, I still kind of, like, of course, everybody's inspired by something, so I still, like, you know, I'm still inspired by, you know, of course, like, my favorite things out there. So I guess, okay, does that answer your question? I'm not really sure.
Yeah. I just want to make sure, you know, because, like, I guess from, like, you know, the top 5, what would you say are those top 5 for you?
My top 5 inspirations, I want to say Dragon Ball, of course, Sailor Moon, Digimon, Pokemon. I can't really think of the 5th one, so I'll have to say anything Gainax or Studio Trigger related. I don't know if you're, like, really deep into anime, but that's, like, my 2 favorite anime studios.
What was the name of it?
Gainax and Studio Trigger.
I've heard of Studio Trigger, but not Gainax. Sorry.
So Gainax is, like, the people who created, of course, Neon Genesis.
Oh shoot, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
Wow.
And then, you know, of course, Studio Trigger, like, they branched off from Gainax and they made their own thing with Studio Trigger. So
yeah, you triggered my memory. So yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So okay, so when as an artist being on this journey, did you ever experience any negativity when you got started? And if so, how did you get past it?
Negativity, I guess the biggest hurdle I could think of right now is when you get, like, constructive criticism, and, like, you kind of, like, you need to learn to not take it so personal, because they're not doing anything but trying to help you. So your best bet is just, like, you know what, just, like, strive to make a better, you know, decisions when you're drawing or whatever. So I feel like that's the best thing to do.
You're right, because it's one of those things that, you know, every artist needs to hear, but at the same time they need to keep in mind, like, okay, you know, you know, is this really applicable? You know, just kind of take it for what it is, you know, because it just is what it is. That's just that person's perspective, right?
Right.
No need to hold it personal against them, right?
Right.
And I think a lot of us can kind of get our emotions wrapped up into the creations that we created because it's like an extension of our souls, right?
Exactly.
So that's actually a really good point. I guess what have you found like kind of helpful to like not take things so personal when it comes to criticism and things of that nature?
I would say meditating. If you're not good at meditating, if you have never even heard of meditating, do some research on it. Like that's like a great thing to do, especially when you're like home alone and you're like the house is completely empty, no sounds going on. That's the best thing to do is meditate, like ease your mind. And then when your mind is fully like eased out or whatever, grab your pen and paper and get back onto it.
Oh, you dived into, you know, something I've never even talked about with anybody on the show. So like you meditate. How often do you meditate?
I say about 3 to 4 times per week. I need to do it more, but since I'm an artist, I don't have a lot of time on my hands, so I do it when I can. Man, have you found like some of your greatest inspirations have come from when you've quieted your mind and you're just in Zen? A little bit, but usually when you quiet your mind, it's like your mind is completely clear, so you kind of aren't really thinking about that type of stuff until you're finished meditating. So.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, like, what have you found, to help you, kind of like create, some of the characters or some of the art that you were making? Like, what have you found helpful to do that?
I would say like reference material, like a whole bunch of reference material. Like I have a library filled with it. Like I have a whole bunch of comic books and manga and like art books from like certain animes out there. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff. So that's like the biggest thing. It's like I know it's one thing about a lot of young artists. Like they ask me a lot of questions that they can easily find out just by like using their phone. Like everybody kind of understand why people like have such a hard problem with figuring out like there's literally a phone in your there's literally a computer in your hand. So it's like I don't get it. Like why are you not researching? It's crazy.
You're killing me.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't understand it, but
well, it's kind of like that. I don't know. It's that old way of thinking. Like, well, if somebody's already done it, instead of me using something that's like so powerful, I'm just gonna go to them and just ask, because sometimes that just kind of makes people feel better. But you're right though. There is Google, there is YouTube, there is a plethora of information for you to go kind of like navigate and like sort through, right?
Yeah, and I like to think of like, okay, of course, yeah, you can always look to those greats, but you got to figure out where did those greats get their information from. So
that's very true. And like that kind of like springs on a question, like what do you think are some of the mistakes that you've seen artists do that you would recommend them avoid?
I know one thing that I should have avoided is actually like really study how the human body works. Study anatomy. Another thing is perspective and pretty much the fundamentals. Like learning the fundamentals before you really jump into like the nitty gritty of creating your own story and your own comics and your own characters and stuff like that. So
that is true. Because like without, if you can create like this phenomenal character, but if you put it in a like kind of like a scene that's just like flat, you're like, yo, like what is that?
And to be honest with you, that's kind of something I'm struggling with right now. So like as we speak, I'm trying to learn how to do this because I'm working on some new projects. So I'm trying my hardest to get this right before I really get into the nitty gritty. Really?
So like, as far as like working on like improving your perspective, as far as with the different scenes, what are you doing to like improve that, and what are you watching to like improve that?
It's like a whole bunch of YouTube tutorials and Google searches and Instagram references, all kind of stuff you can find. You just gotta do the research.
I want to continue to reiterate, if you're not sure, just Google.
Yeah.
So, okay, so like, what are some of the, I guess, you know, without like spoiling too much, what are some of like the new projects or some of the things that are in the pipeline that you're working on that, you know, we should be aware of, that, you know, we can look forward to, get excited to see?
Okay, so I'm working on a comic universe called Mindless Designs Comics. You can go to the website right now. It's mindlesscomics.com or mindlessdesignscomics.com, whatever one takes your fancy.
Okay. Okay.
Pretty much, it's all about like aliens and alien life and life outside of Earth. And basically how I have it set up is like I started with my first comic. It's called John, Just an Ordinary Guy. You can read like the first chapter on the website for free right now, but you can also go to the store and purchase it online, like the digital version of it.
Oh.
It's like I said, it's about space, time, travel, and all that good stuff. I kind of don't want to spoil too much because you really have to dig into the story to really, you know, get a grasp of what's really going on. But when you really read what's going on, you'll be like, wow, it's gonna blow your mind.
Ooh, okay. Give us a little taste, you know. Oh,
yeah,
that got me.
It's gonna blow your mind.
Okay. So like, what, you know, there's certain things that, you know, artists need to, you know, pay attention to. So like, do you think what do you think the importance of using social media plays in a role as an artist, and do you use it regularly, and how often do you use it, and how do you interact with your audience?
Yeah, to be honest with you, social media is like a full-time thing in my life. Instagram is like the biggest thing. Like, I don't know what I'll do without Instagram. So to be honest with you, like, if you're an artist and you don't have Instagram, you're kind of like missing out on a large chunk of, you know, the opportunity to, you know, get your stuff seen.
Dang.
So,
hey, if again, that's another point to make. If you are an artist and you aren't using Instagram, I suggest you get on it.
Yeah, factual.
and so like, you know, how do you usually like promote your work and like market your work to like basically get your name as an artist out there?
To be honest with you, man, I'm low-key still trying to figure that out.
Really?
Yeah, it is tough. It's really tough. Like, I actually recently just got my original page back. I had my page deleted, like, I want to say about a week and a half ago.
What?
I had like 21.7K followers, and it got deleted. So, and I think you discovered my newest page, it's like ZayArts Redux, and that's like the page I just started, like after that page got deleted. So,
are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's real crazy because I had to email Instagram like 3 to 4 times to get my page back, and they finally gave it back to me. So now I have like 2 pages, you know, with my art on it.
So, first of all, did they even give you a reason why they did that?
They said I violated a community guideline or something like that, but the thing is, like, they never really clarified exactly what I violated, you know what I mean? So, I don't know.
I just want to be clear, like, what do they mean violate? You know, I'm seeing things on here that really don't even belong on Instagram, but, you know.
Yeah, right, exactly. Seeing tits and ass. I know.
Right, and I'm like, is this really? You know what? Never mind. You know, I don't want to even get into it. But okay, so like, so okay, you gotta tell us, Isaiah. Like, what keeps you motivated to like continue to finish and continue to work on your stuff? What keeps you motivated?
To be honest with you, it's 2 things.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing is like, I don't know, ever since like I picked up the pen and pad, like, I feel like it's always been my purpose. Remind you, like, I told you, like, Sailor Moon was like my biggest inspiration, or one of my biggest inspirations. I remember at that time, like, I was like probably 7 or 8 years old, and I could not for the life of me draw anime eyes for nothing. Like, I don't know what was that. I couldn't do it. So what I did was, instead of drawing anime eyes, I drew like Sailor Moon or whatever, but I drew her with curvy eyes, like. so she looked crazy. But that was like like my first step into the anime world. So that I feel like that was my purpose. Like drawing anime and drawing comics and stuff is my purpose. Like entertaining the world with my ideas, that's my purpose. So I'm always gonna pursue my purpose as a man. So that's my first thing. The second thing is pretty much like looking at my peers, looking at my competition and seeing what they're doing, and that's another reason why Instagram is a big part of my, you know, my artist life, because as soon as I get on Instagram, look at my timeline and see, you know, my competition, seeing what inspires me, seeing my, you know, inspirational artists, whatever like that. So it's like, I don't know, I feel like that's just another thing, just seeing, you know, my peers and stuff.
Okay. It's like one of those things where you're like, you know, you have a purpose, and so you're driven by your purpose, and that keeps the fire flamed. And then on top of that, you know, you see a little bit, you know, your peers, and you're seeing what they're doing. You're like, man, I got to keep going. I got to keep stepping it up. I got to keep elevating, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I do want to say one thing, like having competition is good and healthy, but don't make it unhealthy. Meaning, don't like, what's the word? What I'm trying to say? Just don't make it negative. You know what I mean? Like, if like, okay, put it like the best way to put it is like, if people are trying to collaborate with you, don't be all like, oh, I'm a lone artist, I don't want to compete, I don't want to, you know, work with other people, I don't want to compete, I just want to compete for the rest of my life. Don't, you know what I mean? Like, work with other people, like, do that, because it helps everybody. It's not just going to help you, it's not going to help the other party, it helps everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
man,
that's my biggest step. Man. Like, just collaborate.
That's true, man. You know.
Yeah, like, to be honest with you, like, I might be going on a rant right now. I'm sorry, but to be honest with you, that's the main reason why there hasn't been any other comic book companies that, you know, thrive other than DC and Marvel, because no other artist wants to collab and actually come together and make it themselves. Like, it pisses me off how a lot of artists like this. It's weird, but I don't know.
I mean, no. You know, you're pointing out something really, really important, right? Because like, I've seen something that's so sad. Is like when somebody's like, you know, promoting their own stuff, right? They were promoted on people's comments, you know, regardless that they didn't even like or, you know, comment what the picture was. They just said, hey, you know, our Kickstarter is this, you know, support us, blah blah blah. I'm like, wait, step back. Like, you gotta understand that, like, if you want to come together with somebody, or if you want to collab with somebody, first of all, actually take a genuine interest of what they're doing. And don't try to make it where it's all about you. You know, the first words out of people's mouth is I, and you already know where they stand. I this, I that, and it's just, you're right though. You know, it's such a shame that there's a plethora of artists, and instead of like kind of like coming together, they rather be individual. Like, you know what? I'm gonna plant this flag all by my lonesome self.
Exactly.
I'm like,
exactly.
Let's just connect and make something cooler than, you know, what's been out there for like 60 years. I mean, the man has passed away. It's time for, and I hate to say it in this type of term, but revolution of something that's better than that. something
else needs to pop. You know what I mean? So I don't know what it's gonna take, but something that needs to happen.
I would agree with you on that. That's funny you say that. That's actually very interesting. So you got to tell us, what are some final words of wisdom that you would like to impart the show, just to like future artists, people who haven't gotten started, and then the second question to that is, what is something you wish someone had told you before you got started?
Start with the second one. What I wish somebody would have told me is, like, don't listen to people who say you can't make it in the art game, especially with the way technology is. Like, technology is just booming. You can reach so many people. You can reach people who don't even live in the U.S. You can reach, hell, you might reach some aliens in the next 5 years. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like I'm saying, like, don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't make it in an art game. What was the first one again? I'm sorry.
The first one is, what are some words of wisdom you like to impart on the show?
I mean, well, yeah, I guess that kind of means for both of them, I guess.
Right.
You know.
you know, you gotta shake those people who are the naysayers and they have no idea. Like, you know, those are the people that basically are negative about everything. Like, oh, you want to do that? You want to chase your dreams?
Right.
You can't make it that way. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm like, whoa.
And what's crazy is some people working 9 to 5, hating what they don't. that's what's crazy about it. You know what I mean? So,
believe it or not, you are absolutely right, man. I remember just like putting out like some of my first YouTube content, and like people are like, "What are you doing, dude?" I'm like, "What do you mean? What am I doing?" Like, aren't you an engineer? I'm like, and like, does that matter? So it's just crazy, man. So you gotta brush them off, right? So
brush your shoulders off.
Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, man, Isaiah, this is awesome, man. Thanks for being on the show and providing inspiration and hope to the people, man. Where can the people find you at, man? Tell us where the people can find you at.
I have, like, to be honest with you, I have like 4 Instagrams. It's crazy. All right, so my main Instagram is ZayArts21. That's where you can find like most of my art, most of my like live Insta story posts, all that good stuff. My second one is ZayArts Redux. That's my, I guess you could say my backup, just in case my first one gets deleted again. But who knows? You know how that goes.
Right.
My third one is the Mindless Designs Comics one. So it's at Mindless Designs Comics.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you'll find all my comic book related stuff. And then my fourth one is a little bit kind of on I won't say on the X-rated side. It's more mature, like I want to say rated teen, so 16 and up type art. It's like where I draw a lot of my like models on Instagram and a lot of cosplay models and stuff like that. So you can go to that's ZayArts Chicas.
Okay, that's like that Toonami version. Okay.
Right. And of course you can also go to mindlessdesigns.com and mindlesscomics.com to purchase my comic and read the first chapter of Jock the Short and every guy.
Excellent. And you don't have any other links that you want to put out there, like Patreon or anything like that?
As far as Patreon and YouTube and all that stuff, you can click the link on my bio on Instagram.
Excellent. All right, Mastermind family, that's going to do it for the show. We hope you enjoyed the show with Isaiah ZayArts, providing inspiration and hope to you, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Dude.
Black magic. The present feels like the past. It's deja